Welcome, everyone. We're so glad to see you here. This is an information session. That's basically the name that we called it, but it's really just a chat about the University of Texas of Arlington College of Education, specifically our undergraduate degrees. My name is Monique Bird, and I'm the Director of Marketing here. And so I really just come to kind of facilitate the chat a little bit and to introduce our lovely presenters. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you didn't get a chance to put your information in the chat, you can do it later. Like I said, I see that we've got at least one response, and so it's always good for us to see who's in the room. Also, as we go along, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. We usually save most of our questions for the chat for the end, but if you do have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat and we will get to those at the end. And today on the line, we've got a couple of our presenters. We've got Tiara Little, and she's actually going to be the second person talking. She is our lead advisor, and so we're very happy to have her here. And then the first person that we're going to have speaking is Dr. Casey Brown, and she is our Associate Dean of Academic Programs, and we're just so very grateful to have her here. She's just going to talk for a couple of seconds and just tell us a little bit about the college as a whole. And so with that, I will let Casey speak.
Good evening. We're so glad to see you all online tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. You are in for a treat tonight, hearing wonderful things from Monique and from Tiara, and they have some great things to share with you. We in the College of Education have fabulous instructors and wonderful students. We have undergraduate degrees, master's degrees, a doctoral degree, a BA to PhD program, a leadership minor, a leadership certificate, certification only programs for state licensure. But we know you are here because you are interested in teaching, and we are so very glad that you are. We have fabulous students who are very well prepared as they go through our program to learn about how to instruct students in multiple levels. And we know that you will get fabulous advisement if you become a student in UTA's College of Education. So we welcome your questions tonight, and even after tonight, if you have questions. We know that I know tonight you'll be prepared with some information about how to reach out to us and how to get additional information. This is a great program, and we hope that you find that it's the place where you want to apply if you have not already. So welcome. I think you'll enjoy being with us tonight.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. And if Casey sounded like a principal, it's because she was an educator for years and years. And like many of our faculty, they've been in the field, and so they have that experience. But with that, I would love to turn it over to Tiara Little. Like I said, she's our lead advisor, and she's just going to talk to you a little bit about our program. So Tiara, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Monique. And thank you, Casey. So good evening, everyone. Like I said, my name is Tiara Little. I am coordinator of advising for the College of Education. I've actually been here for quite some time. Been here for about 13 years, which is a really long time, but I love it. And so there's definitely reasons why I do stick around. And so on the slide there in front of you, there's a few words there that look a little jumbled up. Looks like a foreign language, but it's not. Really, they're just my favorite things about UTA. And what we would typically do is just have participants try to guess what they are, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and unscramble those for you. So just a few of my favorite things about UTA. So for that first one, that's actually location. And so if you've not been to UTA, or even if you have, we are located in downtown Arlington, and we're really close. We're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from all the local attractions. So we have the AT&T Stadium nearby, the Globe Life Park where the Rangers play, Texas Live, all kinds of restaurants, and lots of things to do. And so I really do enjoy that. And the second thing is diversity. We are one of the nation's top most diverse institutions, which is amazing. And again, just campus life, just looking around, there's all sorts of people from all walks of life. Diversity is one of the best things about it, for sure. And that last one, which is kind of a long word, but that one is opportunities. And so there's lots of my majors on campus available. Obviously, we want you to be an education major, but there are lots of majors. There are minors, certificates, lots of student organizations, and just things to be a part of. And again, when you're on campus, usually through the weekday, you'll find something happening, some club or organization. And so I do enjoy that. And of course, just people. I do enjoy the people that I work with and the students. And so just an overview of what we'll talk about briefly, and talk about some common goals and things that we probably all have in common, or at least mostly similar goals there. Program information. And so Dr. Brown mentioned a lot of the things that we offer. I'm just going to go into a few more details about our programs. Getting started in the journey, that's basically just like our admissions requirements, like how you can get into our program, what it looks like as far as the logistical side of things and how you matriculate through, and campus connection. So just some things that will help you establish some belonging here with us. And so we'll keep it going. And I think, yes, so these are our common goals. So of the common goals, that top left picture is a classroom, right? So you're here today because you do want to be part of a classroom. You're already in a classroom, but this is one of our education classes. And so obviously, if you're wanting to do that, you have some interest in doing that. So that's one of our goals, right? Going to school, getting that education. That next one, a group of our students who graduated on their graduation day, which really cool thing about being an advisor, we get to work with you guys from the very beginning when you first start UTA up until graduation. And so that's just a group of our wonderful graduates from a few years ago. And so obviously that's going to be a goal of yours. You want to graduate, you want to get that diploma in hand. That next one is actually becoming a teacher. So you're here because you want to teach in some form or fashion. And so that's a picture of a few of our alumni with their classrooms all decked out with UTA College of Education swag. We do hope that you be part of that so that you can also do that and we can take pictures and put it in a presentation at some point. And then that last one, obviously, if you can't tell, that's a check exchanging hands, right? So we do have to have, money isn't everything, but we do have to have money to live, right? And so just gonna talk a little bit about finances and things like that. Everyone wants a check. We all want that in the end. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And so this is just for fun and facts. And so I won't make you guys do this, but this slide just is how much do teachers make? And so we'll list a few of them there. And so these are accurate as of like a couple of weeks ago, at least. And so with that, we have some of the local districts listed here. And so this is first year teachers who just graduated, just got their diploma, just finished their certification, and no advanced degrees or anything like that. This is starting teachers, and these are the local district salaries. And so Arlington ISD, about 58 for Fort Worth ISD, about 58, Grand Prairie ISD, about 57, HEB around 58.5, and Mansfield about 58.3. So they're all around the same, about 58,000. A lot of people say teachers don't make enough money. And obviously we never get paid as much as how much we actually deserve for all the amount of work that we do. But for starting out, first year teachers, that's a pretty good salary. And again, that's just first year teachers. And so there's lots of other things that you can do. You can get additional degrees, you can get a master's, you get more as you gain more experience and have more years teaching. You can get more there as well. And if you're teaching a high need area, there's money always available for that as well. So it may not be the money that you deserve in a lot of cases, but again, it's not that bad. And there are ways to increase that money as well. But then also you will be excited about your career, at least we hope. The next we have, okay, sorry. All right, so the next one are about our programs and so what we offer here. And so I think I looked at the chat at first and I think I saw a lot of people were saying they wanted to do elementary, I believe. And so that is one of the options that we do have. And so here, the top two clouds are the ones that are actual education majors where either I, as an advisor, or one of our other undergraduate advisors would be your main primary advisor where we advise you from the very beginning to the end. And so the first one is elementary. So it's early childhood through grade 6. So it covers all of elementary. And within elementary, we have a few different routes or 3 different degree plans to choose from. You'll need to click once more. I think the first one's going to pop up as bilingual or ESL. So ESL is our first one. Bilingual is our second one. And the main difference, there's lots of other differences, but the main difference in getting you just to kind of figure out which one of these you would want to do within the two, bilingual does require you to be fully fluent in both English and Spanish. And so that does mean that you should be fluent, like right now fluent, and not like a few years fluent. This program does bet on you already having that knowledge and that fluency in that. So if you're wanting to do elementary and you're not fully fluent in both of those languages, ESL might be the one you want to go with. But we also have, I think if you click one more time, I think special education does show up there as well. Special education is actually in all level. So it's early childhood through grade 12. But it also includes the elementary course subject certification with that. And so that's why it has the two arrows there pointing to that. So those are our 3-degree plan options for that area. Then we'll move along to mid-level. And so these are going to cover grades 4 through 8. So you'll see some grade overlapping there. But within mid-level, we do offer 2-degree plans. And so mid-level math science or middle level English social studies. And so you'll notice that they are composite. So it's not just one content area, it's actually 2 contents that you'll be prepared for to be able to teach in grades 4 through 8. So either math science, you'll be taking math and science. So again, it's composite, or you choose our English social studies where you'd be taking courses in both of those areas. A lot of times students are like, I like math, I don't so much dig science, or I like English, maybe not so much social studies. But the cool thing about those is that it does include both the contents. You will be prepared, and it makes you more marketable, more competitive. You have 2 contents there that you're able to teach. And so your school can move you around a little bit if necessary, if the need arises. So we do have that option. And so again, the elementary mid-level, those are going to be our education majors. We work with you from the very beginning to graduation. And then the lower 2, we have secondary. And so these are going to be content majors. So what that means, you'd actually major in the subject and you'd meet with advisors in those particular areas. And they'd show you degree plans, show you all the courses that you need, because you really need to be proficient in the subject that you're wanting to teach. And these are going to be single subjects. And then you'll eventually see us in the education department to be fully admitted to the educator prep program, take our education courses. So you have your content. Now it's time to learn how to teach that content. So the education courses are there for that. And of course, you'll be doing field experiences with that as well. So we would work with you guys more so like your last year and a half, maybe here, but the main focus would be the content and then later on how to teach it. But it is still part of the degree, part of the undergraduate degree. You would just follow a specific degree whenever you do those. So with secondary, we do offer English, which that's English Language Arts and Reading, which is the ELAR. So you'd major choosing that. The next one would be history or social studies, which mostly social studies now. And so if you're interested in doing that, you'd actually major in history. Again, you'd follow a degree plan that's specifically for the secondary route. And we also have math and science listed there. So if you are interested in teaching math or science in the high school level or the 7 through 12 area, what we'd actually have you do is either strongly consider our mid-level 4 through 8 math and science, just so that it does include that. And if you go that route and you do want to get higher grades, after you finish that certification, you get the degree, you're fully certified in that area, then what you can do is actually take additional certification exam or exams on your own, practice for those, study for those, and then you're able to teach high school math or science as well. And so in that case, you have multiple certifications. And again, definitely more marketable that way. If you don't choose to do that and you do want to focus just on the math or the science, what we do is have you talk to a College of Science advisor, more specifically, probably Dr. Erin Gonzalez. So if you were interested, you could let us know that. And then she'd kind of walk you through on what the actual major would look like and then getting the certification after you graduate with that. And so that's our secondary. Again, those are content majors there. And then the last area is the all level, which that's going to be art, music, PE. Again, same as secondary. If you choose one of those routes, you would major in those subjects. And then as you finish most of your courses or content within those areas, they would advise you to come meet with us. And so then you'd be meeting with us and the content advisors. But for us, we're advising you on the admissions process, getting admitted, taking your education courses, and then doing your field experiences as well. So those are our program options. And so next is structure. So if you're one of the education majors, so that's EC6, the mid-level or special education, this shows your structure here. So it is a fall only cohort. So there are core courses you have to take, obviously. And then we also have content courses that you guys have to take as well. And then once you've finished most of those courses and you meet our requirements, generally the fall after you meet those requirements that we'll talk more about probably one-on-one, the fall after that is when you begin the actual education program. There's a full admissions process and everything to this program. So there's admissions process to UTA and being admitted and all of that. And you can be admitted to UTA fall, spring, or summer. It's just for these programs, you do only gain admission to that specific program in the fall semester. So just in the fall for those. Once you do begin, it is a 2-year program. So if you did meet requirements and you were able to start our program, for instance, next fall 2022, you'd be looking at a graduation of spring of 2024. So while you wouldn't be shortening that year, those 2 years at all, it is possible to extend it if necessary to be beyond 2 years, but just know that once you do begin it, you're looking at least 2 more years to finish that program. And then field experiences, which is the fun part of everything. You will be doing lots of field experience because you definitely need that. You need to be in the classroom, you need to observe, and you need to practice for sure. And so around 40 to 60 hours of observation within like that first year of the program, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less for that, but you will get some observation time. Part-time field experiences, that typically happens during your very last year, where you're doing 1 full day a week in a classroom. And then you have full-time clinical teaching where you're doing full-time Monday through Friday in the classroom as if you're an actual teacher. And so you'll be getting all of that experience, you'll be working full-time, but we do have to include on there that it is non-paid, but it is non-paid, but you will be paid in experience. And that is the best thing about that. So it is the 1 semester where you're doing it full-time. The other semesters, it'll be less than full-time. But yes, so that would be your very last semester where you're doing the full-time clinical teaching. You do actually get multiple grade placements. So you're not just getting certified to teach 3rd grade or certified to teach 7th grade, you're getting certified to teach multiple grades. And so when you're doing your field experiences, you're actually going to be placed in 2 grades at least. So a lower grade placement and a higher grade placement. So let's say you're doing a 2nd grade and you're doing a 5th grade, kind of gives you some range there, some experience in those different areas. So again, that helps to fulfill the requirement of field experiences and give you, again, more experience in working with that. Now for students who are doing secondary and all levels, so again, those are the students who are going to major in those subjects. So you're majoring in English, you're majoring in history, you're in those subjects. For those students, that program actually begins fall, spring, or summer because their focus really is going to be that content, right? Again, they're going to be teaching that content all day long, every day, 5 days a week. And so they really need to be proficient in that. And so they're finishing most of their courses at different times. And so with these students, the education program actually can begin fall, spring, or summer if they're doing that. And then it's about 2 to 3 semesters long. So there's still the field experiences required for it. So there is still a part-time field experience where you're doing 1 day a week in the classroom, which is mostly the semester right before your graduating semester. And then during your graduating semester, that's when you have your full-time clinical teaching. So similar experiences as far as field experience. You will have at least 1 semester, that very last semester, where you're doing it full-time, Monday through Friday. And so that's the basic structure of that. Awesome. And then we also offer, which was mentioned earlier, a leadership minor or certificate. It's interdisciplinary, which basically just means that it is okay for multiple disciplines or different majors to pursue this minor or major. So if that major allows a minor certificate, if there's room, if the advisor in that area approves that, this is an option for several students, and it's really great. So we do actually partner with our Follett Student Leadership Center with this program. And so as it says that it equips students with the skills needed to make a positive contribution to the world. And so it essentially prepares you to develop and hone skills that would make you an effective leader. So you'll be taking courses that cover ethics and global issues and explore like different dimensions of leadership and then how to use those effectively in your career and in your community, which makes it interdisciplinary. And so there's two options there. There's an 18-hour minor. And so that's open to degree seeking students if, again, those majors allow a minor. And then there is a 15-hour certificate. And so the main difference with those two is that the certificate is open to students who are degree seeking and non-degree seeking, but the minor is only open to students who are actually seeking a degree at that time. And just key word or just something to remember or to know, if you are doing one of our education majors, so if it's elementary, middle level, or special education, our programs don't allow minors for our students, but we do allow certificates. So even our students can participate in these, or at least participate in the certificate. And so with anything else, the major would have to decide if they allow that sort of thing or not, but this is a really good program to be part of. Awesome. Finances and people. So I talked about money a little bit at the very beginning. And so we'll talk a little bit about money here. So flat rate tuition. So UT is pretty cool in that we don't charge you per hour and how many courses that you take. And so we are on a flat rate tuition. So that means that based on a certain amount of hours, like an hour range, you're only going to have to pay the one price for that. And so it has listed here for one semester for 12 hours, which that's typically for 3-hour classes. It's going to be about $5,600 there. And that's for 12 hours. And it says plus there. So that means if you're doing 15 hours, which is 5 classes, it's going to still be that amount. If you're doing 18 hours or 19 hours, which sounds crazy, but students do it all the time and it's feasible. But guess what? It's still going to be that same $5,600 because it's flat rate. So after the 12th hour, it doesn't increase in price. And then so that bottom one just shows the 24 hours, which is basically saying in 1 year, so 2 semesters. And it's just basically multiplying that. So that's about average, about what you would be paying. And so not many people can afford to pay all of that all on their own. And if you can, I salute you. That is amazing. But a lot of students are going to need a little bit of assistance in helping pay for college. And so the university has lots of scholarships, lots of transfer scholarships, freshman scholarships, several that are renewable. And we also have some scholarships in the College of Education specifically that we do offer to new students, to current students, and some of those are renewable as well. And so this just lists a couple of them or a few of them. Actually, if you go on our website and it's like Math Scholarship, but really if you just type in scholarships on the UTA website, you'll be able to find it and you can list all the scholarships that are offered are listed there. So there is assistance there definitely to help offset some of that $5,800 and people. So like I said, I'm Tiara Little. I am a coordinator of advising and we do have other advisors available as well. We have a really good team. So Chelsea Payne is one of our undergraduate advisors and we typically take a portion of the letter set, but that doesn't really matter. We will advise all students who want to do undergraduates, but Chelsea Payne is one of our advisors. Marissa Matas, she's somewhat new. She just hasn't gotten her picture taken yet, or I think she just got it taken, so we don't have it just yet, but we will be adding that soon. And she is a great undergrad advisor, or will be soon as she's still in training. And we have Kathleen Ritchie, which she's a great advisor. She's working with different students, different programs, things like that. And Berhani Doilicho, she's a graduate advisor. So for all of you guys who want to pursue master's after you get that undergraduate, that bachelor's degree, so you can get more money there for the advanced degree, Berhani is there definitely to help out with that. So if you see any of our names, just know that we are great people and we're going to give you nothing but good information. We'll keep on moving on. And our faculty. So not only do we have great advisors, we also have great faculty. And so listed there just says a few things. So there's faculty that are experts in their field, definitely experts in their field, well respected in the community. I always like to point out that one of our professors in our leadership and policy studies department actually has a whole school named after her, an elementary school, which is really awesome. Diane Patrick Elementary School, and admired by their students. So our students do enjoy our faculty. They're great, they're easy to get along with. They want to help you. They have a real passion for helping students become educators because they were educators. And so they're willing to speak to all students, whether you're students or not. Maybe you're just considering it. And yes, I respect them. Advising loves the faculty as well. And you're going to be learning all kinds of things. So effective classroom organization. There's some classroom management. I'm sure that little guy is probably 10 years old now at this point. Verbal, nonverbal communication. I'm sure you guys have seen teachers do things like that before. Language assessment, literacy development, teaching all the subjects, classroom interactions, how to deal with that, diverse learners, all of that. You're going to be learning so much. You're going to enjoy all of it, or you enjoy most of it, if not all of it. But it will all be very good to know and learn to be used in your classroom. And we'll keep on going. Student organizations. Okay, this is the campus connection part that I was referring to. And so UTA has over 300 student organizations and clubs on campus, which is really great. And I always encourage our students to definitely be part of something. And we can go to the next slide. College of Education, we actually have 3 student organizations specifically for our college. So they're part of the 300 plus student organizations. So we have our student ambassador program, which we like to see and train students who are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, because all of them have a different experience, a different perspective on what UTA life is like. And then our juniors and seniors have a perspective on what it's like within the actual education program and going through that and doing field experiences. And these students get to work with advisors and work with faculty and administrators in the community. So what we do is train them to be able to give presentations like this, but then also to be able to share their unique experience, because it's very unique in what that is. And so Kappa Delta Pi is our next one. That is knowledge, duty, power. It's not a sorority or fraternity. I didn't used to make that distinguish. I didn't used to make the distinguish there because, but I did start noticing that students were a little hesitant about joining. And that was because there were Greek letters there. And so it's not necessarily a sorority or a fraternity or anything like that. It is an actual honor society. So knowledge, duty, power. If you do see that come across your way, just know it is an honor society in education specifically. So it's a really good one to join. And then we also have bilingual education student organization, which many of you have probably heard of before. They even have different chapters in high schools and community colleges and all of that. So those are 3 of the ones that you could be part of. I would definitely recommend that you be part at least with one of those. If not one of these, then definitely some organization or club on campus. It's just a really good way to establish belonging and just be able to share in the experience with others who are doing the same thing. It really does make the college experience all the better for that. So there's that. And then just my last slide, and you'll be doing a lot and it's a lot of hard work because anything worth it, it will be difficult at times, but it's definitely, again, worth it. And so there just has a few of our students with a few of their caps all decorated. And yeah, so that is my presentation for the day. Again, advising, we're here to help. Obviously, we're usually like the first line, the first people that students get to know. And so we're available for prospective students. So we talk to students in community colleges, other universities, if they're interested in transferring. If you send us a transcript and you want to go over a degree plan, if you send us that transcript, we'll complete a degree plan for you and help you with the whole plan. And we'll map it out from now until graduation if you want to do that. At least I love doing that. So you can reach us at that link, or you could just type in co-ed advising, or I'm sure Monique can send something to you guys. Or if you just want my email address, it's tlittle@uta.edu. Feel free to reach out and we can schedule an appointment and chat. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Yes.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Thank you for that, Tiara. I know that was a lot of information for everyone. It was good information. Every time I listen to Tiara talk, I learned so much because she really has been here for so long and she's really just a resource of knowledge. I want to give y'all opportunity. That pretty much concludes our presentation, but we want to make sure that we have time to answer your questions. We know that it's hard being an undergraduate, and there's so much when it comes to just college, and then there's also, you know, picking a program, picking a major. And so we'd love to hear what questions you have. With that, while you kind of think of your questions, I'd love to ask a couple for you, Tiara, that I get a lot. And oh, let me actually backtrack. You're welcome to meet with the advisors really at any time. They're so happy to meet, especially with prospective students. They do get a little busy though, especially during certain times of year. And so I did put the link for the recruiters in our chat. And so if you just have a quick question, or if you just want to kind of talk through your options, the recruiters are really a great resource to talk to. And if for some reason we don't know the answer, we really do try to help get you to that right person, the best person who's going to have that knowledge and connect you to someone who's going to be able to address your questions. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, the advisors are a little busy and I want to talk to them today. Sometimes they might not have the appointment today. They might have it like the next day. But do know that if you want an appointment like ASAP, the recruiters usually have a little more availability. But one question I get a lot from prospective students when we're meeting with them is, how do they know what program, like what do they want to certify in? Like, how do they know what's a good fit? And so how do you talk to students about, kind of looking at the different options and determining what's best?
Yeah, so I typically like to ask them if they've had any experience. So if they've ever volunteered in school, or at like an after school program, like a Boys and Girls Club or anything like that, at their church, maybe doing Sunday school, something like that. If when they did that, they felt a certain passion for any particular grade, then I would say that may be what you want to look into, and I give them their options. A lot of times students, because elementary is probably our largest one, a lot of students do want to do elementary. And so I kind of talk them through that. Like, yeah, elementary is great. A lot of them are really focused on one specific grade. And, I do try to remind that there's multiple grades, part of the certification. And so you will get experience in all of those. You may start off thinking you want third grade, and then you may get a taste of sixth grade and you're like, nope, that's the grade level that I want. And if they haven't done that, so if they're just now coming to education, they're just thinking about it, it's just been in the back of their mind, I do like to have them, if they've never volunteered anywhere, I do actually recommend that they try to find something like that. If they can't find anything on their own, I'll often contact one of our professors, Dr. Joyce Myers, which is our program coordinator for EC6 ESL. She actually teaches a class called the Professional Educator, and there's service learning involved in that. And so sometimes I do put those students in touch with her, and she can kind of help give them some ideas about different ways that they can volunteer, just so they can test that out. Because I really think that it's great for students to have experience in that. And some students are just like, I want to teach the adults. And that's great too. And so if you want to teach adults, like, the next thing would probably be at high school. And so I would again say, if there was experience there, if you volunteered, if you were ever a substitute, anything like that, just because they're all different. But I do like to talk through the different options. And if they're not sure and they're like, maybe elementary, maybe high school, then I'm like, maybe middle school. That may be the one that you should go with. And so, we'll talk about different things like that, talk about the different skills maybe that would be necessary to teach that particular area. But yeah, so we just kind of have a conversation and talk through. And whenever I can, if there's an ambassador that's in that particular area, I do like to hook a student up with one of the ambassadors, just so they can talk through their experience, because that's always really good too. And I wish we did have a couple ambassadors here to talk a little bit about their experience, but if you are interested in that, I could definitely get in touch with some of them.
Yes, please do let us know. We actually have a great question in the chat about the application process. It says, what do I need to have to apply for the elementary program? And so she's interested in starting in the fall.
Awesome. So the first thing I would say is definitely contact an advisor and schedule an advising appointment with the advisor, because we would want to go through the degree plan and what that looks like, and if you need any additional courses before the fall only program. And so once we do that, we'll give you an idea of like when would be great for you to begin the education program, or when you need requirements. If it is next fall, then we'd also give you some information on the application process. So again, there's a process of being admitted to UTA, and that's just general UTA admission. And so for the actual education program, we do have a few more steps. So in addition to being admitted to UTA, there is an application process. So there's an application, which we give you guys the link to. Usually we start in like April of the year that you plan to begin that fall program. And so there's an application process there. There is an essay form that we have our students do as well. just so that you can respond to a few of the prompts, see what the writing is. That goes to an admissions committee just to review the answers and things like that. You'll be creating an account with the Texas Education Agency so that we can start getting that together and start sending information to them once you are fully admitted. And then we have an orientation that our students are required to attend just to get some more of the details and the documents signed. So we usually start updating a lot of our things as far as advising for admission. We usually start doing those in March or April of every year. And so, again, reach out to us earlier than that, just so there are no surprises and we know ahead of time. And so we can help you plan on that. But usually whenever we start having students follow those steps, it's usually in March or April of the year that they plan to begin.
Yeah, and I want to follow up with some questions because I find that that's where students get the most confused. It's almost, I think of it in my mind, and perhaps you think of it differently, as almost like a two-step process because you're applying to UTA through goapplytexas.org. And that's a state site that many people are familiar with because it allows you to apply for different places at once. And that website actually just went a revamp and it looks so nice. And so we're very glad to see that the state has updated that site, and it's goapplytexas.org, and that link is in the chat. But then there's also state requirements to become a teacher. And so that other half is really what Tiara was talking about. And I don't know if you want to just clarify that a little bit better, because I find that sometimes that's where students get the most confused.
Yeah, so being admitted to UTA like pretty much is the first step with that. And that goes for anyone that wants to come to UTA. Everyone has to apply to be admitted. So that's that process. We don't really do much with that because UTA admissions does that. They take transcripts and all of that and evaluate them. They do GPAs for that. And that's for UTA admissions specifically. So that's a separate process there. Now, to actually be admitted to an educator preparation program, which is what our program is, there is that separate process. And so that's what we give to students after they've been admitted because it is a separate process. And so that process requires, again, it's a state certification program. And so there are various things that we have to have students do, which again happens to be the additional application, because again, think of it as a full-on program that you're being admitted to. So UTA, yes, that's great. You can all be admitted to UTA, but the education program requires a little bit more. And so we have to make sure that you meet those standards as well to be admitted to that. And so that program, the fall only program, that's 2 years long if you're doing elementary or mid-level or SPED, or if you're doing the secondary, again, you have to be admitted to UTA in general, but the education program is something completely separate that you have to be admitted to as well.
Yeah, and the beauty is they'll really work with you to really make sure that you're okay and you understand the steps.
Yes.
And I find that most students get through just fine, but if you have any questions on the process, once you apply to UTA, you'll get essentially what's called a MyMav account. And you'll be able to go in there, you'll be able to log in, you'll be able to see, is the university missing any documents, any scores, anything from you that they might need to process your application, and you'll be able to see that on the spot. And then once you're in that second half of the application to the education preparation program, your advisor is there to really the advisors put in so much energy and so much really attention to try to make sure that you have everything you need. So if you have any questions, they're very happy to answer those and to really make sure that you're completing everything that you need to complete.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't mind the emails. Even if you're just checking, hey, I think I did this right. Can you just make sure? Don't mind it. I mean, we get a lot of that. So it sometimes slows the inbox a little bit, but I'd rather that happen than for you to miss a step. So if you just want to verify, that's perfectly fine. Just, verify all you want. We don't mind.
Yeah, good questions. What other questions do y'all have? One question that I get a lot, and you touched upon this a little bit, was just with the finances and the scholarships. People want to really take advantage of that. And we obviously talked about our scholarships, but there's outside scholarships too. And I always when I talk to prospective students, I say, don't just apply for the college, the university scholarships. Don't just apply for the college scholarships, because the university will have some, and then we'll have some as well that you're eligible to apply for. But look for outside sources, and there's lots of really good resources. And do you mind touching upon the FAFSA as well? And many of y'all have probably heard about that, but that's a good component when you're starting to apply for funding, basically to help you pay for school. You'll definitely want to complete that.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, the FAFSA, I don't have all the information about it, but I do know that for the next year, I know that it opened up October 1st. So if you guys haven't done that, definitely do that. One thing that students sometimes forget, which you can go in and correct it later, but if you're like applying to multiple schools and things like that, there is an area on the FAFSA where you can like put the schools in there to make sure that they get that information. So once you decide, which hopefully you decide UTA, you already have UTA's information and UTA is already getting your information, so that, and it's good to do it as early as possible as well. Just to, again, have all that information and UTA's financial aid. If you're ever wondering like what your status is or anything like that, you contact our financial aid once you do apply, just so they can make sure that they have everything. And you can always reach out to one of the counselors there and then kind of walk you through the different scholarships that you may be eligible for, different loans even, if necessary. And I know they used to have like a full packet that just kind of went through the different types of aid that they have. And a lot of students look on their website and that's great, but some of them do actually go and meet with a financial aid counselor. And that's great because they give them all kinds of information. So I would say apply, make sure you get all your information in there as soon as possible. And then of course, once you figure out which university you're going to, which again, we want it to be UCA, apply as early as possible, because when you apply early on, you're probably going to be more eligible for more financial aid, more scholarships, especially like transfer scholarships and whatnot. So.
Yeah, thank you for that. And the last question, I don't see any other questions in the chat, but the last question I get a lot has to do with field placements. And people want to ensure that they're prepared to become a teacher. And I think we do, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we do something a little bit unique from some other places in that students get a few different field placements. Do you mind just talking about their student teaching component, the field placements?
Yeah, so whenever the students do their field base, which is the part-time field experience that I was referring to, before they do that, they do apply for placement. So there's a full-on application process. You'll apply with our Office of Educational Field Experiences. I know I keep talking about applications, but we'll get it all figured out. But yeah, there is an application for that. And part of that application, like you fill out your main information, your TEA ID number, all that stuff. And then you also, there's a few districts that we partner with that we place our students at. And so there's an area on the application for the field placement where you can put a preference for like school district there. And so what they'll do is the field office will send that information out to the districts, and the districts kind of figure out where they can place you guys in the different schools. And then they let us know, and then you get that information as well. And you do the whole background check and anything else that they need to do. But when you do get that information back, you will get 2 grade placements. So what again, you're not being certified for one particular grade level, it's multiple. And so you get 2 grade placements. And so again, one should be a lower grade placement depending on which program you're doing, and one should be a higher grade placement. So I always do like elementary. So maybe you get like a 1st grade and a 5th grade or something like that. And so typically what happens starting for your field experiences, you typically go to those classrooms and I think 1 grade you do in 1 semester and the other grade you do in another. But once you get to your last year, in the fall semester, typically half the semester will be spent in 1 grade level. And so you'll have 1 teacher and you'll be in that grade level. And for half of that semester, you're going to work with that teacher and those students in that class. And then around midterm time comes, then you're going to switch. And then you're going to go to the other grade placement there. And so then you have a teacher there whose actual class it is. And so you'll work in that grade placement. And so that'll be for that 1 semester where you're doing it half and half. And then for your very last semester, same thing, except this time you're doing it full time. So half the semester again in 1 grade level, the other half of the semester in the other grade level. And so what we want there is that for you to have the same grades, the same class for your, if you're doing the education majors, your entire 2 years in the program. And that's so you can, again, establish relationships and just feel more comfortable with those teachers and all of that in that school. And so, yeah, so you get 2 grade placements, and then they do that with all the areas. If you're doing secondary, you get 2 grade placements as well. So you might get like a 7th grade placement, maybe a 10th grade placement, something like that. But yeah, at least 2 grade placements, and you'll be going to those multiple times. And so it's basically, it's a requirement, obviously, for the program, but it's really good. The students really like, this is one of the favorite parts of student teaching, of field experiences. is the field experience. And so you'll get so much that by the time you graduate, you'll probably feel like you've been teaching for 2 years anyway, just without getting paid for it maybe. But yeah, and so our students go into the classroom that next year. So if you graduate in the spring, right as the school district is starting to hire, when you start teaching in the fall, you're like, I just did this for 2 years. This is old news. I already know how to do this, right? So you're a first year teacher, but you have all that experience and that backup. So it's great. It's a good experience, definitely. Like I said, students generally enjoy it. It's a lot of work again, but I mean, it's worth it for sure.
I love that. You're basically an old soul and you're ready.
Exactly.
And that is really what I love about the college, is that you're prepared when you graduate. And that's what matters the most, because we don't want to throw you in a situation where you're not comfortable. We want to make sure that you have the knowledge, but also the expertise to lasso those kids, whatever, in a good way, in a figurative way, let me say.
Not
No
literally.
literal lasso.
Right. No lasso.
But that is just about it. We're going to go ahead and conclude this presentation. I usually loiter around in case there's a straggler who just had a question and just didn't feel comfortable. Thank you all for joining us again. Dr. Brown, did you have any last parting words you wanted to say?
We hope to see you all, and I see all of your applications to UTA for whatever semester you want to apply, either for, it looks like you all may all be applying for next fall. So if that's when you're ready, we hope that you'll be very soon applying for the fall semester. So we look forward to hopefully seeing you